Hey CCWians, Derrick here. Hope you're doing well this summer, whether you're already in studies during summer B, or maybe you're chilling at home or working, doing camps, whatever. Just hope that this message finds you doing well and thriving. Fall's just around the corner, and I'm really excited for what's ahead for us as CCW in Jacksonville and St. Augustine, and looking forward to being with y'all this fall, hanging out, worshiping together, and engaging many conversations, including our rule of life. And so I wanted to drop into the feed as we're getting ready for the fall and starting to plan, and just sort of share my heart a little bit, particularly around the rule of life right now, but even some of the things that I think are ahead for us this fall. If you recall, our rule of life has 4 components: prayer, study, service, and wonder. I just want to say a quick word about prayer. Right now, for many of us, the world is on fire. And there's like a personal part of that, and there's like a much more broader part of that. For some of us, things are fine, but some of us, things are not fine. Things are not okay. And that's our story right now. That's what we're navigating. That's what we're trying to hold. For a lot of us, we're looking at the world that we're living in, and we are just feeling like there is no logic. There is nothing rational about the way that the world is sort of working and operating, the way that the story is unfolding right now. And this is where this component, this rule of life component of prayer, becomes super important, my friends. Of many things we could say about prayer, and we will say many things about prayer, particularly as we get into the fall, but of many things we could say about prayer, here's one thing that prayer is, and it does for us. It reminds us, is an opportunity to be reminded that God is with us. It is an opportunity to speak out into the universe, if you will, our prayers, our petitions, and there's a faith component that goes with that. Even the smallest of faith that says there is someone out there that is actually listening. That when we even utter the groans of even the personal things we're going through, or a reflection of the larger world that we're living in, those prayers are going out to someone. Someone's receiving them. And it is a reminder. Prayer becomes this reminder that God is present. God is with us. And it's an opportunity to try to actually step into that reality, this belief, this faith, right? This risk that there really is a God that is paying attention. And I think the other thing that prayer reminds us is that we can ask for things. We can ask God to do certain things. And again, how we get God to do the thing that we ask God to do, that's a different conversation for a different day. But not only is God listening, but we can ask God to do things. And so we engage prayer not just as a special thing, though it can be quite special, but we engage prayer as a rule, as something we do on a regular basis, because yes, it reminds us that there is a God that is listening, that is paying attention, and therefore we can ask for what we need. And so I do invite you to consider how prayer might be a regular part of your life, a regular part of your day, where you remind yourself that even when it doesn't feel like God is there, God is. And therefore, I can say words into the universe. I can say words in God's direction. And not only can I say words of how I'm feeling about my own life, whether it's personal, mental health, or relationships, I can say words about things happening in the broader world, things about the climate, or things about the way that the U.S. is being run right now. I can say all those words, and those words are going to someone who is listening. And I can then ask that God to do something. I can ask that God to reveal God's self. I can ask that God to make God's desires known, to make God's presence known. And again, there's all kinds of stuff we can talk about in relation to prayer. There's so much more we can talk about in relation to prayer. But we start here, where prayer becomes not just a special thing, but a regular rule of our lives. So CCWs, I hope that you'll consider that. I hope that you would feel invited to consider prayer as a rule of life. And we'll definitely be talking more about that this fall. Look forward to seeing you, my friends. Y'all be well. Remember, you are deeply loved by God, and nothing could ever separate you from God's love. See you, friends.